from GHD. I'm Technical Director for Circular Economy, and I'm joined here by my colleague, Stephen.
Sarah, hi everybody. My name's Steve Cook. I'm with the engagement team at GHD and been working with Dairy Australia on providing this survey.
So I'm going to share my screen here and we're going to take you through a short presentation that helps you with how to complete this survey. So before I start, a brief introduction to GHD. So we're a multidisciplinary global professional services network. We have integrated solutions across digital, engineering, environment, and we work to address some of the biggest challenges in water, energy and communities. And we're really pleased to be partnering with Dairy Australia to deliver this project looking at the animal industry and anaerobic digestion or co-digestion. And anaerobic digestion it's a process by which bacteria or microorganisms break down organic matter. So this is important and relevant to animal manures, wastewater, biosolids and food waste, and it is all done in the absence of oxygen. So what this presentation will do is briefly introduce this project, and then we're going to do a survey demonstration. So 3 things, just what to know before you start, and we'll take you through 2 examples. So one is going to look at beef on farm, and the second is dairy processing. Then last but not least, we will take you through some questions, a bit of Q&A. So just in case you can't tell, so the survey is intended for both on-farm and for processing, so meat processing, dairy, beef, etc. So the reason for this project is, and the aim for the project, the next slide, is to engage with you, stakeholders, regional stakeholders. You're going to collect data, we're going to analyse that data, identify hotspots, so clusters of potential waste material that could be beneficial for anaerobic digestion. And we identify 1 to 2 hotspots or biohubs that warrant further investigation. So the stages briefly for this project, we're at the survey stage. The survey is open now until the 31st of January. We will then collect that data and develop a database to look at the feedstock data. There is some provision for some potential testing of feedstocks to understand their biomethane potential. And then from that, we map the data using a GIS system. We go through a multi-criteria analysis and we look to identify potential biohubs. So what I'm going to do now is stop sharing my screen and hand over to Stephen, and we'll take you through those 2 examples that I mentioned earlier.
Thanks, Sarah. I'll call up the survey now. You'll find it's quite a simple survey to fill out. We will like to collect as much information as you have. You may not have information for all the questions we seek. That's okay. Everything that you can provide can help. So once you download the survey, you'll either receive it from one of the project partners via email, or it can be downloaded from the Dairy Australia site. Once downloaded, we can recommend that you save it to your computer so you can come back to fill in at different stages. So let's run through and give you an example. Starting with your organisation details, I'm going to fill in GHD, my name, my address. It's a fake address, don't try and find me. Enter your contact number there. And here you look for your local government area. So each of the regional councils are here in the drop-down. So let's choose Corangamite for here. Now moving on to the questions, as you can see, you can choose any of these primary business types. If you do have more than one, it's easy to download and fill out a second survey. So we're going to start with beef on farm. And by selecting this, it will change the questions to make sure it is relevant to you. Question 2, do you have existing laboratory data that could contribute to an understanding of biomethane potential? For this first survey, we're going to select no. You'll see it's whirring to select the questions.
That whirring's indicative of a macro operating, isn't it? The structure of the survey is changing and what the questions that you see following on change depending on the answer to that specific question.
Indeed. And as it is, when you do download, it may ask you to, if you see a warning saying to enable content, you just have to say yes and enable macro. But on some occasions, the survey will be ready to go as it is. So here, simple question, please provide the number of head you run on farm or process, or the amount of milk you process. As we're doing beef on farm, I'm going to say we run 400 head and select the frequency, and that's an annual number. Question 4, what is the cost of your current disposal method? Please choose from the list provided. I'm going to say cost positive. How do you currently dispose of your waste? Please choose from the list provided. Again, another optional question. For this example, I'm going to say transported off-site. If you do choose other, you can add the information here.
And what's not displaying might be displaying your side, but not what we're viewing. But those last 2 questions have a drop-down option. So when you're clicking on that arrow, you saw Stephen click on the arrow, there was a list. And from that list, you select an option. So cost positive, cost negative, for example, were some of the options on question 4.
Now for beef on farm, how much of each? Now question 6, how much of each material type on average do you generate on site? Now for each of the primary business types, you'll see that there are different options here: fresh manure, scraped pen manure, stockpiled pen manure, mortalities, and beef on farm other. You may be able to answer all of these questions or some of these questions. So for scraped pen manure, for example, how much of each material type on average do you generate on site? We might say, just for example, 1,000. And then by going down to select the unit, you can have either tonnes or kilolitres. So we'll choose tonnes and then select the frequency per annum, per month, or per week. So we'll choose per month. Please describe the seasonal variation of the waste generation in terms of both quantities and characteristics. So you can comment on the seasonal variation here. Next question, how long is animal waste manure kept in the storage area before being collected? On the storage period there, we could just say, for example, a week. Provide the moisture content of the waste when collected. We have some examples here: completely dry, spadable, slop, or liquid, and we can say it's spadable. Do you mix different waste during storage? Example, mixing manure with straw or other dry woody waste when stockpiled. We'll say no. And there's a drop-down box there with yes or no. And would you be willing to share photos of the waste? Again, we have a drop-down, yes or no. And if you are, you could attach these to the email when you return the survey. So as we said, that was an example of scraped pen manure. You may also have information on stockpiled pen manure or mortalities, and each of these business types will provide these options. Moving down to question 7, investment and innovation. Please indicate your willingness to change your current waste management practice to collaborate with other organisations. We have a drop-down list here with the options. 1 is very high, down to 7, which is very low, to give us an idea of your willingness. Question 8, has your local community previously shown opposition to new or existing facilities? And here we have drop down yes or no and a comment box, so you can provide some further information there. I know there's some communities that are more sensitive to different sorts of facilities, so that information would be very helpful to receive. If you can, please provide question 9, some information on the practicality or challenges in collecting waste from your business for bioenergy generation. And this is a comment box where you could provide information on the challenges here. Question 10, please indicate your level of willingness to invest or co-invest in anaerobic co-digestion technology and reasons why. We have a drop-down list here to give us an indication of your willingness, whereas 1 is very willing, down to 7, which is not at all willing. And there's also a not applicable option too. Question 11, if willing to invest, what is your expected payback period? And again, a drop-down list for you to choose from 1 year down to 7 years plus, and a not applicable option if that is for you. The last question is on power usage. We have 2 sections here as part of this question. Please provide the primary power usage information for the site, and then please provide the secondary power usage information for the site. By selecting the energy type, for example, here we have brown coal. This will populate the units based on the energy type. So, for example, if we have 1,000 tonne a year, your annual energy cost following this, again, if you have a secondary power usage, the information would be helpful, and you can choose it here, for example, renewable or natural gas, and again, that will populate the unit based on the energy type. At the end of the survey, if you had any other comments or questions, we'd be very welcome to add them here. Now, returning to the top of the survey, we just wanted to explain by choosing yes to laboratory data, which some people may have and be willing to contribute. We're going to change the primary business type from beef on farm to dairy processing. It will whir while it's processing the different options. And we're going to select yes. Now, similar questions here, but as we go down to enter the different material types, you'll notice there's a lot more information that will be gathered from laboratory reports if you have them. We're going to, for this example, add in, move down to whey. So we have acid whey, and going to enter biomethane potential, which would be on the laboratory report. And for this case, we'll enter in the value 667. We also have laboratory report for salty whey, and we're going to enter that biomethane potential as 400. There is also an option, if you do have laboratory reports that we would like to contribute, please select yes or no, in this case, yes. And again, you are welcome to attach those laboratory reports to the email and send it to your project partner or to the email address on the Dairy Australia website, along with the completed survey. If you do have more than one primary business type and would like to complete another survey, please download a second survey and repeat these steps. Sarah, is there anything else we should add?
I've got a couple of questions we can run through. So firstly, obviously the anaerobic digestion, the main output of anaerobic digestion is bioenergy or biomethane. So that's why we're asking about specific questions if you do have the data to provide us. It's very useful. But if you don't, please just complete as much as you can. So yeah, just wanted to reiterate that, yeah, fill out as much information as you can, and it's unlikely you'll have absolutely everything to enter in this survey. So what do people do if they have more than one operation type? So essentially, right at the first question, Stephen, they have maybe in the luxurious position of having, say, a beef on farm and also a goat on farm, for example, completely different questions. What would someone do?
Well, then we'll get them to fill out a separate survey for each primary business type. So you would save one by choosing here. For example, it was the goat feedlot. And again, that will populate the questions relevant to that. Once this is completed, please save the survey. And if you could then, under a different name, perhaps goat feedlot or your name, and then open up a fresh survey to move to, for example, a beef feedlot, and then please fill out the survey again.
Yep.
And
so
save that survey. Two different surveys.
Yeah, so 2 different Excel spreadsheets, 2 different files being emailed back. Yep, perfect.
Correct.
Are all of the questions compulsory?
No, there are optional questions. For example, question 4 and question 5. And as you said earlier, you may not have the information to fill out all of these questions, but whatever information you have and are comfortable in providing, it would be of great help.
Awesome. And if you go down to question 8.
Yes. And again, a lot of information there, but it may not all be of relevance to you. Question 8.
Yeah, so we're asking about facilities. So what do we mean about when we're asking about facilities? Are we including on-farm, waste-to-energy facilities, all of the above?
All of the above, yes. We're trying to get a feel of when there has been expansion or new facilities, including expanding the farm or a feedlot or processing facility, for example, whether there has been, what sort of interest the community has shown, and whether there's been opposition, to help us get that extra information for looking at potential future bioenergy developments. It's really to gauge the community sentiment there.
Anything else? Otherwise, I will share screen again and show what people can do once they have found the survey and once they send it back. Anything else you wanted to note?
Yes, if you can see the survey tab down the bottom here, if you click to the left, survey instructions, if you're not sure, we have an example of the survey and how to complete it here too. So feel free to move over to that if you're after further information.
And that's prompted me for another question is, my eyes aren't so great. So how do I increase the zoom on this?
If you go to the right of your screen here, you'll see the bar with the percentage tab. If you just keep clicking on zooming out, and that'll make the survey much bigger for you. So that's now at
Lovely.
150%. So hopefully with your eyes, you can see that my eyes are not too flash either.
All good. Okay, I think that's all. I was just going to share my screen to show the availability and what to do when you finished. So Stephen, can you see that?
Yes.
Brilliant. So this is the homepage of Dairy Australia, and you probably will have used this page or accessed this page to download the survey. So once you've downloaded the survey, it's an Excel file, as Stephen was explaining, and you've saved your answers, you've saved it, and you've gathered any other information, photographs or any reports that you also want to email through. The person to email for this information is Jen. And Jim Batchy at Dairy Australia, and her contact details are on the bottom right here, and it's an email address. So I think that's everything from us. Reach out to Jen if you've got further questions, and hopefully we're hoping that the surveys with the instructions and with the information and the goal of completing as much as you can, but not absolutely everything, that you're able to complete the survey. Thanks for your time and thanks for listening.
Thanks very much, everybody.